I'm Coach K Crypto, and today we're going to be looking at three things. The first thing we're going to look at is how Bitcoin corrections have happened in the past during bull markets and what we can expect. Second thing, we're going to look a little bit into market psychology and how just because some bullish news comes out, it does not mean that we're going to have a bullish chart. And generally, sometimes the sell the news comes in. The last thing we're going to look at is an overview of the market and where Bitcoin, Ethereum is going, and oh my Mantra DAO. Let's get started.
Fat candle, fat candle, huge fat candle on a bull market. Fat candle, fat candle.
We're going to see multi-X gains again.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We're about to go and look at the corrections in the Bitcoin cycles. Hope it doesn't scare you like this. Yeah. Now, what we have to look at is, while we're moving up, do we always just move up? My experience with Bitcoin at first made me sick of it. I didn't want to touch it ever again because I bought in April of 2013 after so many friends kept telling me to do it, and I literally lost like 50% in a couple months. And I was like, yeah, screw this. By the time it was my birthday, I was completely over it and totally forgot about Bitcoin because I didn't care anymore. I thought I lost all my money. I thought it was a scam like everybody else did. Now, we got to this next cycle where we started having a next move, our next bull, right after that one. And we start looking at, and you guys can see these corrections happen constantly over and over again. They were larger in the past because there was less money in the market. Now with more money, obviously the corrections should be smaller. So we're looking at maybe 20% corrections. But in our last bull run, all the way up to 20K, how many times did we correct? And what was the average size correction? Well, we just have to look on the chart. It gives us all the answers. So let's look here. We hit our top there, right up here, and we dump, right? This was the post-halving dump, right? So it lost 38%. Then up here, it lost 35%. Then up here, we lost 31%. And what you see as a recurring theme is that it will correct, come down to a certain level, and then turn around and go higher. Very normal. Until we get to the bear market, that is. Now, what am I expecting for this market? Well, very much of the same things, but less corrective cycles. Meaning, we're going to correct, and that'll happen. You know, right here it happened. This happened like 15% or so. And, you know, on this one before we dumped out, we're at 20%. I think 20%, 25% is very possible. From our top currently right now, to go down 14% is where I'm expecting. But we could come down to this level at 10.3, which is a very key level as well, right around here. That it comes 17%. And then our 200-day EMA is right at 94.85. That's where I'm looking. These are areas that it possibly can come down to. And you're probably going, why 94.85? Well, let's just go to the CME and check this big gap that we have here. And as we know, gaps always fill. Or not always, but 97% of the time, I believe, is the statistic. Looking at this, what we can see is that right around 95, 97, there's this gap. So could we come down and fill this and continue on up? Absolutely. Would that be super bearish for the market? No. It would not. Let's look at this on a higher time frame to give you a better perspective. We made, as long as we stay above this level, which is right here around 91, we can come down all the way to here, fill this gap, and then continue going up. Now, why you hear me say like, oh, corrections are imminent? Yes, but I'm not macro bearish, I'm macro bullish, and this is why. If we come to here, we have what we call a higher low. So here's the low, here's a higher low, here's a higher low. If we came here, it's still a higher low. That means we're still in a bullish cycle. It just pulls it back. So even if we come down all the way to 95, 97, 98, we're still in a bullish cycle until we break that and make a lower low, meaning we come below those candlesticks. Okay? So that's what you need to understand with corrections. It really will help you. Don't be like this guy. Just cool as a cucumber. Know what's coming up. Chill. Now, let's transition and look into how the market psychology plays into your analysis and how it can make you confused and mess up what you're expecting to happen or not. Here we can see things like This Canadian software company putting $250 million into Bitcoin. We see that the market's about to explode. We see that all coins are bracing for the next bullish wave. And this type of stuff makes people very, very, very bullish. And it makes sense to make them bullish, right? But usually the market sells the news. They sell the news.
I want you to hit every bite you can find. Dealers, brokers, clients, your mother if she's buying.
That's what it looks like. They sell on you. The most important part is to keep your analysis in check and not get overly bullish or overly bearish, but look objectively at the markets. Most people cannot do this, and that's why most people lose money. Now let's look at some of the charts to see what's going to happen next. All right, looking at BTC, we've gone over this many, many times. I'm not going to melt your face with it again. We have a 21-day EMA. We broke below the 11,550. I'm bearish on Bitcoin for the short term. I do think we're going to come to this level at 10,650 and could always come all the way down to this 10,353 level. Watch those levels. They're the ones that we have of interest. And now that we're bearish on Bitcoin at this point, we could close and range in this level here. But I expect that we will go lower and finally get the whole correction in the next week or so. Keep your eyes on that. Ethereum, very similar things. We have the 21-day EMA. We broke below it. I think that we want to come to this 365 level or potentially a little bit lower at the 356 level. Watch those two levels. And again, as the daily Kijin is here, watch 331 as another potential again in the next week or so. Now, why do I say certain things? Well, it's pretty obvious. We have a CME gap, and so we could even come all the way down to 9,700, 9,800 and fill that gap and go higher. As I said, if we have a higher low, here's a higher low, we're still okay. It's still bullish in the market, even if we drop, which that will be about 22%. So prepare yourself, hedge yourself, put yourself in also some USDT or some USDC, stablecoin and Bitcoin. If you want to hedge, that's what it means. You have a little bit of exposure in both. Bitcoin bulls, great. You still have your capital. You could put more back into Bitcoin later. So that is a really good strategy to have when you're trading. Looking at gold, we still see similar things. It's quite bearish. If it closes below this level, we're definitely going to come retest this 1870 level on gold. So watch for that, and that will probably drag Bitcoin with it. As well, we're looking at this, and it's quite an interesting chart because it still looks quite bearish. It's trying to break above, and then we have a bearish engulfing candlestick, and now we have this doji spinning top for the next 14 hours. We'll see how that closes. But we have this 21-day EMA, which is suppressing price. And if this breaks below this level, we will cancel out what we talked about yesterday of a C-clamp pushing it up higher again. Okay? Looking at the DJI, we can see there's a hangman at resistance yesterday. It could mean and indicate that we're going to come down at least at this 21-day EMA level. Watch for that on the DJI. And the SPX is still mega bullish, keeps making all-time highs. It's quite wild to watch, to be honest. And yeah, you got to watch for that. If that turns around as well, Bitcoin generally drops with the SPX if it does. So eyes on that. Next up, we're going to look at some of our trades. We saw the scare yesterday. A lot of people were scared. Remember, our trade was, it was not stopping out if we tapped this level. It was if we got down to a little bit below here. We didn't get there, and now we're kind of right on the path that I talked about yesterday, where we can see that I said, we're going to probably range in this level before we break out. Well, we broke below, we tapped it, we closed low, but we got a nice bullish candle, bullish engulfing candle forming right here. And if we break above this 21-day EMA, we're going to definitely continue on up. So this is still a very valid trade. I hope you didn't close that yet. Again, YFI still in that same level. STX, a little bit bearish, touching that 21-day EMA. If it keeps doing that, I might exit this trade. But because of it having mainnet next month, I will likely just leave it set and let it go. RSR, we know that Binance listed them. And how do you feel about RSR listing on Binance without even enough liquidity provisions? I'm damn excited about that too. So should you guys, because if there's not enough coins to sell, which is what CZ did, he jumped the gun. There's not enough coins to sell on the sell side. Obviously, we saw that it pumped. Let's see what happens in the shorter term with that. Another one of our trades I talked about yesterday was NEXO. I said it's going to eventually break out and melt faces. Weirdly enough, it happens during Bitcoin's dump. I'm okay with that though. You know, this is why we trade charts and we don't trade emotions, because this is a good setup and it was ready to go, and we were seeing lots of signs for this was actually going to come back and get stronger, and we saw that. SPX, I had someone message me this morning, man, how did you time up that exact level? Because I literally was within 80 sats of stopping out. It reversed now, and we're still a little bit underwater with this trade, but that's thanks to Bitcoin. Let's see how that reacts, and we'll go from there. DOT is my last one I'm going to talk about other than Litecoin, and why. DOT is just crazy. It just blew up, almost got to the area that I thought just below, and then it started to dump. We have a hangman now kind of at this level of resistance, but we have a long time for that to play out. But DOT, it kind of made me feel mega bullish. That's about right. And what I expect to happen is we're going to come back down to retest this level right here. And so once we test that, we can probably go higher. DOT is a very successful trade. Remember, I told you guys yesterday I got in at 2,800. It's almost, I think it's close. It almost did 100%, 70%. Pretty wild, honestly, even for me to see that. Now, one thing I want you guys to pay attention to is Litecoin. Litecoin is a coin that when it gets bullish, it brings Bitcoin back up. So what I'm looking for right now is Litecoin to break above this 200-day EMA and then test it. Once it does that, I think Bitcoin will then follow suit. That might be a couple weeks, and that might be after a correction on BTC, but watch Litecoin because it does lead Bitcoin in general. It's time for face melting. Melting faces. When I saw this chart this morning, I felt like Dave Chappelle when he's Tyrone Biggums. That's exactly what it felt like. Not trying to get overly emotional or anything, but as of right now, we're up almost 22x. Pretty damn nice, isn't it? Oh my goodness, look at that chart. That is sexy. Oh my God, I gotta call my boy Cletus. Cletus! Hey Cletus! Oh my goodness, this is some crazy stuff there. I mean, I looked at this chart 2 days ago, it was like 23 cents, 24 cents. This is crazy, man. Oh my goodness. I'm so bullish on the Mantra DAO. Come on, Cletus. That was whack. Anyway, yes, Mantra DAO is killing it. They have basically listed on most exchanges, and I did state that when they go on BitMax, watch, because BitMax is the best, and they push projects really, really hard lately. Their market maker are killing it. Not the one from the old, but the one that's new. Their old one sucked. Everyone knows that. But these guys they have now are killing it. It's awesome. I did invest in this private sale, 2.5 cents or so. And so it's about 22x. I'm very happy. I'm very happy with that. And I think that Rio, its sister, is also going to melt your face. We're going to keep eyes on both of those projects. And that is all I have to say for that. How does my community feel about the Mantra DAO project? That's right. That's how you should feel. All right. I need you guys to do me one favor. I need you to go right now, smash up a like, click on that subscribe button, leave me some comments, and hit that bell so you don't miss on any other information that I'm going to share with you guys every single day. Today we looked over a few things. Number one, we looked over corrections in the Bitcoin market and why we should not be fearful. Number two, how news does affect our thinking and how we should not let it, even if it's mega bullish, it can always go the opposite way in the market. And number three, we looked at Mantra DAO and how it's doing, and wow, that's all I have to say 22x later. You guys have yourselves a wonderful day. Like, subscribe, bell. Have a good one, everybody.
Fat kiddo, fat kiddo, huge fat kiddo. On a bull market, fat kiddo, fat kiddo.
We're gonna see multi-X gains.